What's the recipe for success here with her?
Well, just use her experience. She's been fighting a long time, turned pro back in 2007. She's also faced a lot of very tough fighters over the course of her career as well. Gina Carano, Julie Kedzie, Liz Carmouche, and former UFC Women's Bantamweight champion Miesha Tate, who she actually knocked out back in 2007 with a head kick. So, you know, for her, she's got to pace herself. You know, we saw her fade earlier in the season in round 3. Has to stay disciplined out there. Set up her strikes. When she's putting together her combinations, she is very dangerous. And she also gets off to a good start as well. This should be a fantastic fight.
And there is Julia Budd coming down from Canada all the way here to South Florida to make her PFL debut. She's already part of the roster next season, Randy, as we made clear, but you've got to start the momentum now.
Absolutely. And here's a gal that came from a Muay Thai background. Little known fact, she fought Gina Carano and had a victory against Gina Carano in Muay Thai before she ever started MMA, which is really interesting to me. She comes from a fighting family. She's married to Lance Gibson and trains out of Gibson MMA up in British Columbia. Lance Gibson and her son is the champion at Bellator, Lance Gibson Jr. So a fighting family all the way around.
We'll take a look at the tail of the tape between these two lightweight competitors. Julia Budd, 38. Kaitlin Young is 36 years of age. Budd, 2 inches taller. 1 inch advantage in the arms, 2 inch advantage for the leg reach in the favor of the Canadian. Another showcase bout. Lillian Garcia, take it away.
That's right, as we continue this evening, this showcase bout is in the women's lightweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. She is a Muay Thai specialist, standing at 5'9". She officially weighs in at 155 1/2 pounds. In 24 professional fights, she has a record of 12 wins, 11 losses, and 1 draw, with 8 victories by way of knockout. Fighting out of Shoreview, Minnesota, here is Kaitlin, the Striking Viking Young. Her opponent, fighting out of the red corner. She is a freestyle fighter. Standing at 5'8", she officially weighs in at 154 1/2 pounds. In 18 professional fights, she has a record of 15 wins and 3 losses, with 7 victories by way of stoppage. Fighting out of Port Moody, British Columbia, Canada, making her PFL debut. Here is Julia the Jewel Budd. Your referee in charge, Keith Peterson.
Keith Peterson equipped with our ref cam. He could take us inside the action if necessary. Julia Budd in the red, Kaitlin Young in the black and gray.
Ma'am, are you ready? Ma'am, are you ready? Fight!
Budd tries a push kick, a jab from Kaitlin Young. Respect shown from either fighter for the striking ability of their opponent, and Budd grabs the clinch.
Nice Muay Thai plum clinch by both athletes. They're exchanging plum clinches here, fighting back and forth, throwing those knees.
Kaitlin tries to come in behind a jab.
Budd has a lot to prove tonight, but it's going to be tough. Kaitlin Young is no walkover. She's got a ton of experience.
Thanks, girl. Thanks. Levels.
Nice jab inside kick combination there from Kaitlin Young, who's able to stay just outside the range of Julia Budd.
Eight up top.
Yeah, Kaitlin doing a good job of getting in and getting out. Julia not able to find her range just yet.
Strong right hand there from Bud. She's having a hard time keeping her hair out of her eyes here in the early part of this round. There's that left jab, left inside leg kick again from Kaitlin Young. Nifty little combination. Now she goes to the outside of Julia Budd's leg.
Yeah, Kaitlin continually trying to attack that lead leg of Bud, trying to slow her down.
A little dirty boxing going on there from Julia Budd.
Randy, if you need someone to tutor you on dirty boxing, let me know.
Please, I would love to hear that. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Nice response there after the combination from Julia Budd. Kaitlin Young throws the jab out to interrupt it.
Like that jab left kick, that's an interesting combination. You don't see a lot of people throw that particular kick. Usually you throw a punch, it loads the kick on the other side, but to throw them on the same side is interesting, and it's not something most people are used to seeing.
Once again, a nice stiff jab from Kaitlin Young. She's found success with that so far. And Kenny, now maybe the key is putting things behind it because the jab is scoring.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Again, Kaitlin Young off to another good start and kind of rocked Julia Budd there on that exchange.
Looked like a lead hook coming over the top there from Kaitlin Young, who's accounting well for herself here. 3 minutes gone in the first round. Gets off center line, throws a right hand behind it.
Yeah, she's cutting great angles as well, countering well, moving backwards, and kind of frustrating Julia Budd here.
I think she's hurt that lead leg of Julia Budd. She keeps bouncing it up off the mat like she doesn't want it to get hit again. And I think it's in her head a little bit.
Yeah, that was another nice combination by Kaitlin Young. Kind of rocked Julia again.
Balance interrupted there for Kaitlin Young. She bounces right back to her feet.
Jab with a left kick followed by a right kick, and the right kick got her a little off balance just as Bud threw that punch, and I think that's what kind of tripped her a little.
Fascinating striking battle developing here. Julia Budd with a slapping leg kick there. You can see very even output being tracked by our smart cage. Once again, a right hand finding its home from Kaitlin Young.
Takedown by Bud.
I think that was a good choice, yeah, to mix things up, especially late in that round. She was kind of getting out jabbed there by Kaitlin, who really found her range early on. I think this is a good way to frustrate Kaitlin and kind of let her know she can't just walk forward without any repercussions here. Nice takedown, nice timing there by Bud.
I agree with that too, Kenny. I think that gives her one more thing now she really has to worry about, where she was just worried about the punching before that.
Bud is able to pass to half mount here. But Kaitlin Young isolating that arm, pressing it down. And now into the guard again.
10 seconds, Jack. 10 seconds.
Round one drawing to a close here. There's the 10-second warning. Back and forth between these two women's lightweights. Julia Budd will finish the round on top. Round two next.
Well, it was all about the timing and just solid fundamentals there from Kaitlin Young. Excellent ability to get in and get out. But late in the round, Julia Budd finding success with that takedown, putting Kaitlin Young on her back. Curious to see if she goes back to that takedown strategy for round two.
Julia Budd making her PFL debut. Kaitlin Young, impressive in the first round. Fighter performance rating favors Budd. Stole the round according to FPR with the late takedown. Couple of push kicks there from Julia Budd.
And that's a great way to nullify that long jab from Kaitlin Young. That lead leg is going to be obviously a much longer limb.
Classic Muay Thai here.
Knees to the body from both competitors. Nice one up the middle there from Kaitlin Young, who's able to disengage.
You see now the hair of Julia Budd now up in a bun there. That hair was bothering her, as you mentioned, Sean. Got that hair up and out of the way for round 2.
It's a small thing, but you have to keep pawing it away from your face. Just that little minor distraction in an evenly matched fight, that can be very difficult.
It's exactly why Randy didn't grow his hair out.
I never had that option.
More clinch work, more dirty boxing here. Kaitlin Young on the exit. Two very experienced competitors, and that time a right hand snuck through for Julia Budd.
With Julia already looking way more comfortable here in round 2, guys.
Nice knee from Julia Budd.
And again, we've seen Kaitlin Young get off to a great start and then start to fade in rounds 2 and 3. Could this be happening here again?
The knee just misses there for Julia Budd, or maybe partially landed. Kaitlin Young was able to get her head out of the way at the exact right time. And it's Kaitlin Young who dumps Julia Budd to her back.
That was a beautiful takedown. And it was Kaitlin Young who was getting outstruck and then decided to put Julia on her back.
Perhaps a reversal of the first round strategy.
Uh-oh.
Full mount.
Budd looking to explode out, but Kaitlin Young will try and transition to an armbar. Budd is able to get out the back door, chain wrestle that into a top position.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Julia exposed that arm there. Kaitlin Young unable to take advantage, and now it's Julia on top here at a critical moment in this round.
Budd's got to clear her head, get some elevation, get that head up above, or at least nose to nose with Kaitlin to be effective from this top position.
Yeah, absolutely. The higher the head and the hips, that person will usually win the exchange here. See if Julia's able to get her head out from underneath that arm of Kaitlin Young. She has those legs kind of tied up a little bit, but so far Kaitlin Young not really threatening with the get up.
Budd trying a couple shoulder punches there from the top position.
Our Cronus fight tracker there, tracking Julia Budd. She has been in the center of the smart cage for a good portion of the bout, but right now the work is being done against the barrier. Budd's head still tucked under the arm of Kaitlin Young. It's a bit of a stalemate here, Randy. What does Budd need to do in order to put some meaningful power on these punches?
Well, I think Budd is trying to trap that bottom arm, which is going to really prevent Kaitlin Young from being able to get up or wall walk up that cage. If she can clear her head, she can really bring down some bigger shots and score and damage from this top position.
Yeah, if she could steer Kaitlin Young down to her right side, there she goes. Now able to get her shoulders to the mat. This is a much better position for Julia Budd.
Budd turns the head of Kaitlin Young away from that barrier, making it harder for her to shimmy her shoulders up and get some elevation. Budd will go to work on top. Less than 40 seconds remaining here. She's right in front of her own corner, which is always handy for taking instruction.
Nice job by Kaitlin Young, sticking her hands to those biceps and not letting her have that freedom to swing.
Now circle her hips, circle her hips, circle her hips, push her head to the cage.
Great defense by Kaitlin Young, but unfortunately defense is its own reward. You got to find a way to get up and mount some offense against Julia Budd here. So you can see the live betting odds swinging even more in the favor of Budd. Inside of 10 seconds here as round 2 comes to a close, and once again, Julia Budd finishes on top. Welcome back to Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Sean O'Connell, Randy Couture, Kenny Florian. Julia Budd and Kaitlin Young swinging away inside of the smart cage, and FPR once again favors Julia Budd, this time with a rating of 75. Strong striking and the reversal after a takedown from Kaitlin Young. Once again, Budd looks to shoot. Nice sprawl from Kaitlin Young.
Oh, nice job by Bud, able to turn the corner there.
Second effort there by Julia Budd to get that takedown, turning the corner, using her head, steering her into that bottom position. Very technical fight. Both these gals have a lot of skills.
And one of the reasons that Julia Budd is such an intriguing prospect is that strength we just saw on display, the pure physicality of the women here in this 155-pound division make it interesting, especially when you talk about potential future matchups with people like Kayla Harrison. Kaitlin Young getting the feet on the hips, and now we'll close the guard one more time.
Yeah, and you see Julia Budd here with her head position, keeping it right over the head of Kaitlin Young, and that is pinning her very well, but she has to get around the legs here. If she could posture up, push down on those legs, and get to a side control position, she can get more offensive with her striking.
Budd starting to accumulate the riding time, so to speak, Randy, but also mounting more successful offense from the top as perhaps Kaitlin Young gets more desperate to stand up from the bottom, exposing herself to more risk. And here comes an armbar attempt.
Slipped it. Budd slipped it now. You see the elbow. Now she's going to pass. Use the armbar attempt to pass. Budd into cross-side position.
Now this is going to be a much better position for her to both control and get some ground and pound going here against Kaitlin Young.
Don't let her. We got to get some damage here now. Get some damage. Some hooks now.
Young's got that underhook, that right arm, and she's going to use that. Budd doing a nice job of timing that to try and step over to mount. But Kaitlin Young not having it.
Heavy pressure from Budd, who now in the live betting you can see is a massive favorite here. It's going to take a Hail Mary for Kaitlin Young to reverse this. Keith Peterson reverses, pauses the action to replace the mouthpiece of Kaitlin Young.
You control this position. You're in control of this position.
I would like to see Julia Budd get her hands off of the mat, get them riding up on the armpits or the biceps of her bottom opponent of Kaitlin Young, and from there she can posture, bring her hips in, and find some elevation to land more effective striking from that top position.
Budd steps the left leg over there into a half mount position, and there's that bicep control from Kaitlin Young one more time.
Kaitlin Young gets the guard back, does a nice job of moving her hips and pulling that guard back. I still think she's got to open that guard, get her feet on those hips and create some space, create a scramble, make Budd work to keep her down there.
Yeah, she's got to create more space. She's just trying to defend here, but needs to get those underhooks, try to post her arm on the mat and get back to her feet. She has an opportunity here, she can do it, but Julia Budd able to circle that arm back into that underhook position.
Nice job of repummeling by Julia Budd to not give up that inside position. Well, Young's got the inside position again. She's got to bring her hips around to that underhook side and start to get some elevation.
That shoulder is in the neck of Kaitlin Young. That might be choking her a little bit.
Definitely squeezing. It's not a full Ezekiel choke. Maybe Julia Budd's been watching the whole season and seen Magomed Kirimov pull that off.
But she's extremely strong, though. I mean, that shoulder pressure was very cumbersome there for Kaitlin Young. Was able to get out of it there, but now in the mount position.
Could be a big problem for Kaitlin Young here.
And now she will try to force
the arm triangle.
Arm triangle here.
Got
Julia
it.
Budd.
She's got
Run
it.
the mount, squeeze it hard.
Locking it in, trying to shift across side now. She's got it tight. Young doing a nice job of trapping her arm with her own legs to try and keep that pressure off.
And she runs out of time, Julia Budd, on a tight squeeze submission attempt there, but it will end as an attempt. Julia Budd feels like she's done enough here in her PFL debut. We'll see what the judges say here as the scores are tallied. Some strong wrestling there from Julia Budd, Randy, as we take a look at the Cageonomics Stats Bundle presented by Geico. A couple of takedowns. Of course, the reversal in the second round.
Yeah. Both gals exhibited a lot of great technique, both the striking and the ground game. Did some great things.
Here's our carparts.com damage meter. You can see the leg, the right leg of Kaitlin Young absorbed some of those kicks. A lot of body shots, particularly on the ground, coming down from Julia Budd. And of course, body, head over and over on the ground from the top position for Julia Budd. And now we'll take a look at the Rich Energy replays. Kenny, walk me through it.
Well, I thought Julia Budd did a great job of landing shots on the inside and then going to that tie clinch. It was a great start from Kaitlin Young with that jab, but where Julia Budd was doing most of her work was on the ground. You see the mouthpiece get knocked out of the mouth of Kaitlin Young there. Julia Budd attacking the body, attacking the head repeatedly, having good control, keeping those shoulders of Kaitlin Young pinned on the mat.
Fighter performance rating tracks the performance round by round. All 3 rounds, according to the FPR presented by Rich Energy, go to Julia Budd, who hopes that the judges' scorecard reflect what the FPR algorithm and Smart Cage have spit out. And Lillian Garcia has the official decision inside the PFL Smart Cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges scored the bout 30-27. For your winner, by unanimous decision, Julia Budd!
Julia Budd successful in her PFL debut. And Ian Parker nailed his first bet of the night. He had the prop of Julia Budd winning by decision. That is exactly what happened. Duckstradamus continues.
Duckstradamus.
That's good.